We need to talk about our collective psychic break with reality and the need for some people, a lot of people, to actually go touch some grass and be grounded in the real world. Now, do you know, as an aside, I find it very hilariously ironic. I saw an ad yesterday for a shoe. So, you know what? So I have bad heels. This is way too much information for you. But I have bones giant, like visibly you can see through my skin, the back of my heel bone spurs. And I am in constant pain. I never am not in pain. They have just gotten bad. And what really set them off of all things is about a year ago, I jumped rope in the gym, and that was the day, if I could put my finger on a calendar, that was the day where the pain started, and it's never stopped since. And I've gone through the physical therapy and the stretching, all this stuff. So I keep upgrading shoes, and every 6 months or so I change my shoes. And I really like Brooks, and people are telling me go to Hoka's. Hoka's are even better. The Hoka's are ugly. I don't want the big branding on the side that says Hoka. So anyway, this is all related to touching grass, I promise. There was an ad on Instagram I saw of a new shoe that claims to be grounded. You see, there's a large body of research out there now that walking barefoot in the grass actually has healing properties. And this is beyond the homeopathic therapies out there, actually a growing body of scientific evidence that for reasons I don't quite understand, walking barefoot in grass does something to ground you. And now there's a shoe out that allegedly has some grounding mechanism to replicate you walking barefoot. I'm like, what is, of course it's online. Now, I say all the time, people who are too online need to touch grass, and here comes a shoe that says, you actually know the shoe will ground you in the same way, and it's an online ad, of course. Now, this gets me to this wild video. This is from South Florida. Of course, it's from South Florida. I'm going to play you a little bit of this. This is from a Miami TV station down there. Listen to this.
Late posers, Craig and Belkys, wannabe diplomats. It's how they could be described from Sunny Isles police, who dealt with this couple not once but twice in a situation you could say is an only in South Florida type deal. Watch.
This is why you have to become a non-citizen national, so you don't have to worry about paying taxes and you get your business right.
But her business wasn't right when she was brought to Miami-Dade jail. Only 7 news cameras were there as Cecilia Mercado was taken in. After this,
I'll see you in court.
The 32-year-old North Miami Beach woman was yanked from her driver's seat Tuesday by Sunny Isles cops after making an illegal turn and for having bogus plates, police said.
They are not fake. They are completely registered to my private trust and my vehicle.
That's Mercado after getting out of jail.
Her immunity is 100% authentic.
And that's her boyfriend.
Just bring your supervisor now.
The passenger and videographer Tuesday during his girlfriend's arrest.
They have no jurisdiction over you. She is not a United States citizen.
Fresh off Mercado's bond out Wednesday, the couple took another ride as they left TGK in this Mercedes Maybach. And before they could get home from jail, they were stopped by Sunny Isles police again, with the man who drove them getting hauled off in cuffs. Cops tell us that Maybach had fake diplomatic plates, just as they say Mercado did Tuesday.
We can stop there. So these fine people, apparently from New York, as I understand it, who are now in Florida, faked diplomatic immunity and claimed to be citizens of something other than the United States. You know, this is an online trend of people where people, through the series of tubes known as the internet, have convinced themselves and each other that they can essentially give up their citizenship of the United States, and instead of declaring citizenship somewhere else, they declare their citizenship to themselves or a trust or of the world. And these people conjured up diplomatic tags that they registered in the name of their trust and their diplomats and think they're above the law and can behave accordingly. You will not be surprised to learn that on the back of, I think it was the Maybach, the Mercedes Maybach, very expensive car. These people have a lot of money, clearly. that on the back of one of the cars is the Instagram tag to follow the person. You know, I see this trend around a lot, kids these days. In fact, I was behind a kid in McDonald's drive-thru. I was picking up chicken nuggets for my son the other day, and there was a kid who had an Instagram tag. And so I was curious. The line was like, he was a giant F350 or so. And I pull it up, and kid is growing marijuana. So I guess it's actually his drug dealer tag. But you see this all around these days of people who are just, they're internet famous. So one of the arguments against TikTok that I saw, hilarious. This is an actual statement from someone online, Med Gold, Universal Mediterranean Aesthetics, Thin Arms Nationalist. That's the person's, that's how they describe themselves. Banning TikTok is a wild move. First, the legislation doesn't actually ban TikTok. Kids with millions of followers aren't going to just jump over to YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels and start building a new following from scratch. Their TikTok is their identity. For some, it's been their entire childhood and adolescence. That's a perfect reason why you need to ban TikTok. If TikTok has become some kid's identity, they have found their identity through a third party controlled by China. All of the bat poop crazy ideas that are out there today. Y'all, people need to go touch grass. Forget the healing properties of it. You need to get offline. Yesterday, a conservative talk show host started circulating, just pulling stuff out of his butt that Ken Buck, member of Congress who resigned, clearly they must have blackmail on him. There must be some deep state evidence against him. And then all of a sudden you saw all these other people say, oh, you know what? This must be right. You're just pulling stuff out of thin air to be sensational, to pretend you have some sort of super secret knowledge. Now, this gets me to the very old thing, and this is related to the book that I'm writing, You Shall Be as Gods, Gnosticism. The Gnostics believed that there was this secret system, this secret knowledge. And if you had the secret knowledge, you actually had the real path to eternal life. And they said the early Gnostics were heretics off of Christianity. They started in about 100 AD after the death of the Apostle John. When he was no longer around, they sprung up. The last of the apostles had died. They sprung up with this secret knowledge. And what they claimed is that, this guy Jesus, he was actually a philosopher who knew the secret to eternal life. And it wasn't the open stuff you read about from the apostles. There's a secret path. And if you can follow this secret path of knowledge, you too shall gain the secrets of the universe. And we see this online now. So many people go online in search of the truth. Surely the guy in Charleston, South Carolina, worked for Boeing. He had to have been assassinated because that makes so much more sense than the fact that he ate a bullet on his own. Surely you can't believe he committed suicide because it's so obvious. This guy on the internet has strung everything together for me. He's got the super secret knowledge. And that ultimately is what's happening right now is nobody really likes egalitarianism. Nobody really likes equality. Everybody wants an edge on everybody else. Everybody's got a little bit of a hustle in them. So they want to follow the people online who can give them the Gnostic truth, the super secret truth that can string all the strings together and make the world make sense, the conspiracies, because nothing makes sense. You know why nothing makes sense? Nothing makes sense because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we had 3-4 TV channels. And then you got 200 TV channels. And then you got a 24-hour news cycle. And the 24-hour news cycle channels needed to keep feeding you information and coming back and getting you to come back. So they kept adding news and twisting truth and started realizing that they could keep you coming back for more by telling you stories. It's the success of Fox. It's the success of MSNBC, is they tell you a story. They align you to a group of good guys against a group of bad guys. They don't just give you the news of the day. They give you the narrative. It's us versus them. And you're on one side and you go back to your team regularly. And it makes the world make sense. And you can see the world in this new light. And it's all a little bit of Gnosticism thrown into all of it. As opposed to the world's not that deeply interesting. There are lots of things happening in the world that are completely unrelated. Sometimes there are coincidences, and sometimes it's just not that complicated. Sometimes it's more complicated than you think. And what you find with these people online is that they want to take the really complex things and they want to make them simple, and they want to take the simple things and they want to make them complex. And by revealing the secret truths to you, you come tuning back in for the wild conspiracy theories of how all the people you hate are up against you. Now, this jumps me directly back to the TikTok situation. Because here's what's happening. The number of people on the right coming out and say, well, why should we ban TikTok? After all, our government spies on us. Why should we ban TikTok? After all, the left is using government to target us. This is where touching grass comes in. You may not realize it. You may not understand it. You may not be able to process it because you're so broken by your addiction to the internet. But while you and I can say all sorts of things about the left in the United States and how bad they may be in policies and how some of them actually do hate the country, some of them really are evil. There are some on the right who are too. Whatever it is about them, they're in the United States of America and they do not possess nuclear weapons. China wants to end the United States of America as we know it. Do you know that the Chinese have been implicated in actually trying to blackmail candidates running for office in this country to pull them out of races? And in one case, it worked. One guy running for Congress, the Chinese threatened him. He got out of the race. In Canada, it's now been exposed that the Chinese actually poured money into Canadian elections to back particular candidates who were sympathetic to the Chinese, and they did it through a back door. Justin Trudeau's government tried to censor the information because most of them were in his administration and in his side of parliament. But it's true. The Chinese actually tried to steer elections in this country and in Canada. And look at the information they control on TikTok. This is far different from the progressives you hate in this country. There are categorical differences. There's a category of American progressive who hates you and wants to end you. There is a category of this nuclear-powered communist nation that actually runs genocidal Holocaust-like camps against certain groups of people and wants to do the same here. Good Lord, people. And then there's Eric Swalwell, who was caught bang with the fang. Y'all, the Chinese are a different order of magnitude from your local American progressive. Get out and touch some grass. Not everything is a conspiracy. Not everything is some deeply woven deep state plot. Not everything is about our government getting control over you so that they can control the information. Tulsi Gabbard, who is just a political hack online, is saying, oh, this is about controlling the information. The government wants to control the information you see. No, it's about China wants to control the information you see on TikTok, where this idiot Med Gold Online is saying TikTok has become the identity of our kids and it would be bad to get it away. That's precisely why you wanted to get away. And it's not all about TikTok. It is about the insanity of the American public these days who spend all of their time online, don't know their next door neighbor, are prone to believe conspiracy theories because they want an extra edge over their neighbors. They want to know the secret Gnostic knowledge of surviving in America. You got the idiots who declare themselves diplomats online to avoid the law, and they've gotten all of this stuff from online. The internet has driven society insane. Maybe the EMP pulse from Russia taking out our electronics wouldn't be such a bad thing after all. People have got to go touch some grass.
When the world